Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Kiwi.
Minimalist cooking. Often it's mainly the domain of people who are extremely busy, don't have enough time to spend hours cooking in the kitchen for a weeknight meal. But is it just for busy people, or can it really be a way of life? What is minimalist cooking? Well, Jules Clancy from the stonesoup.com is a big proponent of minimalist cooking. Let's find out what it's all about. And Jules joins us from Australia, I think the snowy mountains today. Hello to you, Jules.
Hi, Glenn. How are you doing?
Very, very good. Now, I came across your ebook, or a link to your ebook from lifehacker.com, which has hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of viewers around the world. And I found this ebook, and I was like, wow. It's free. There's heaps of recipes in there, and it's really, really beautiful. Why have you decided to put this out?
Well, it's actually a collection of. So I've got a blog, Stone Soup, that you mentioned before, and it's actually a collection of recipes that I've published on Stone Soup, but also on other sites as well. And I just wanted to they're kind of already out there, and I'm in the process of writing a book that I am actually going to sell for money. But I was kind of like, I have all these beautiful recipes that I've already published, but they were kind of, they've kind of had their day, and I wanted to bring them to life again and share them with people. So I just thought, the free ebook was a great idea to keep them all in the one place, but also to give the recipes, a chance to live again, kind of thing.
To have a new life. I mean,
yeah.
Minimalist cooking. What defines that?
Well, it's kind of something I made up, Glenn. But so minimalism's all about just keeping. Basically, it's just simplicity, and so omitting needless things. So just keeping everything to the basics. But in terms of cooking, I kind of look at it in terms of keeping things as quick as possible. So, reducing the number of steps. So, do you really need to blanch your broccoli before you stir fry it, or can you just whack it in the wok kind of thing?
Yeah.
It's keeping the number of ingredients short. And I've kind of chosen to stick to 5 ingredients or less, just as a kind of, to really, make it as difficult as possible for myself. And then also, minimal equipment. Like, a lot of my friends don't have, kitchen aids and fancy equipment. They've just got the basics. So it's just making it more accessible to people.
So not only minimal in the ingredients, but also the environment in which you cook it. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and and the way you serve it, and kind of like it's a whole philosophy.
So what does your kitchen look like?
Well, it's very tiny actually. So, and it's very old school. It's just got an oven. I do have an ice cream machine that I'm trying to part with, but that's from my pre-minimalism days.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nothing fancy at all.
I mean, is it an extension of anti-materialism?
It is. It's kind of it's like absolutely, Glenn. That's what it's all about. And that's kind of why I found minimalism. Kind of like my personal philosophy was going that way. Yeah.
So by the sounds of it, you've had a lifestyle change at some point.
Oh, absolutely. So, like over the last probably 12 months, I've kind of been getting into minimalism in my life as well, in terms of not buying things that I don't need, and that's enabled me to quit my job in January so I can focus on my blog full time. Because, my overheads, like my cost of living's gone down so much that I don't need that much money to live anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was amazed about when I was looking through the ebook is the amount of variety of recipes you can do with 5 or less ingredients.
Yeah, I know. It is kind of amazing, isn't it? Like, it seems like none, but yeah, you can actually make quite creative things and quite delicious food.
Yeah.
With not a lot of ingredients.
Well, like an example was the other night. I had some egg noodles in the pantry and a bunch of veggies in the fridge, and so I was looking for a recipe. Well, what sort of stir fry could I do? And so I went to a recipe book, and I ended up cooking Singapore noodles. But it required sort of coconut milk, chili, curry paste, plus all the vegetables, garlic and olive oil and all these things, and it ended up being a big mound of ingredients. I mean, I did it, but it did take a little bit of time. And then I looked in your cookbook, and you've got something called veggie laksa, which I could have used with egg noodles. And there's hardly anything in it.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Glenn. So it's just, it kind of surprises me sometimes. Actually, I'm writing a post at the moment about, there's this awesome bean and kind of with chorizo, tomato-y dish that I do. I've been doing it for years, and it's normally, takes a couple of hours. It's got heaps of things in it. And I actually, by using canned beans and just paring everything back, have been able to get it down to 5 ingredients in 10 minutes. And I made it the other day to take a photograph of it, and my boyfriend ate it for lunch, and he was just like, this tastes just as good, if not better, than when we used to make it before. So
wow,
it's it's really not everything's going to work. But,
so do you often start with a more complicated recipe and then take a look at it and say, well, how can I boil this down?
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty much where most of my recipes come from, like stuff that I've cooked before or stuff that I'm trying out, and I think, okay, what do we really need in here, and what's kind of nice to have, and just cut it back.
Definitely inspiring for weeknights, for the time poor. Okay, well, it's great. So people can go and download the ebook from your website, which is thestonesoup.com, and of course look out for, I suppose, for future books as well. That'll probably be just a little bit more involved, no doubt. And you do all the photography.
Yeah, I do, Glenn. I do. So when I started the blog, I realised with food, visuals are so important. So I bought a camera, and a friend of mine's quite into photography, so I pestered her to teach me. And it's just been trial and error kind of over the years. Because
that's another whole art in itself, is actual food photography.
Oh, it is. It's very different to any other type of photography.
Do you do any tricks? Because a lot of food photographers dress food up. They give it a glaze and it becomes kind of Frankenstein at the end of the day. Do you do any of that?
Yeah. Well, most no, not at all. Like as a minimalist, don't. Kind of that doesn't work for me. I kind of like imperfection. I can kind of see beauty in that.
Yeah.
But most really good, food stylists and photographers these days aren't doing dodgy stuff. Like they're kind of just using food in its natural form, and it's more about the lighting that you use rather than actually tricking the food up these days. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Well, Jules, Clancy, thanks so much for joining us. We hope to catch up with you soon, perhaps with a recipe or two.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. That's Jules Clancy. Find her blog at thestonesoup.com. As I say, go and check out that ebook. It's very, very cool. I downloaded it the other day and I shared it around the Kiwi office, and before you know it, everyone's kind of going, whoa, I cooked this the other night and everything. So it's very good stuff. Just gone 9 o'clock. Shortly we'll be back off to Australia once again, to Melbourne this time, with Janine Young, our new scientist correspondent.